today. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than the usual one I have posted for this channel. A little bit of a background for this video. You guys seem to really like the seafood video in which Todd was cooking prawn pasta for us. So because of that, it got us talking, so we've decided to create a new segment for this channel in which Todd's going to be hosting it. So without further ado, I'm going to hand in the camera over to Todd now, and he can explain a little bit more about what this segment is all about. Okay, see you later. Bye.
Glad everybody liked my cooking segment previously, so it'll be more about basic cooking to start with and then sort of build up the hard stuff, but preferably just 5-minute meals, really tasty meals that are quick to cook and good for dinner. So it'll be mostly chilling out with myself and Nov in All About Cooking, so that's what I'm calling it. And hopefully we get more subscribers, get some more people watching it, start giving us ideas on what you want to see cooking, and we'll see how we go from there. Like for the moment today, especially because this is something myself and Nov have done over the last 8 years, is prepping and drying out our jerky. Everybody keeps asking about it. So this Nov has been heavily involved in doing this with me over the last 8 years. So this isn't just a me thing, this is an us thing. My segment will probably be way less edited than Navita's. I'm not as fussy about my mistakes and the way I say things as Navita is. She's a bit of a perfectionist on hers. So there will be a bit of dribble coming out of my mouth occasionally that won't be edited. But that's me, guys. You should know me by now, and I hope you enjoy it. So, fantastic. I'll see you in a while. Cheers. Just something to be aware of if you're putting the raw meat on your stainless steel on your sink. You really need to prep it early and get it really clean. You're dealing with raw meat, otherwise you'll end up with people getting food poisoning.
My summer place got a smile on my face, surrounded by friends, ain't no better place. I can't think of anywhere I'd rather be than right here. In my summer place, got a smile on my face. Me and the crew are taking over this place. Dirt piles carving out tracks in the sand.
Not sponsored.
No sponsors going on here.
Oh.
It's a boy.
Alright, this is the sauce. So in this video we're not going to show you what we put in this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to defrost fresh habanero chilies that we grow in our garden. So usually when we harvest a lot, we freeze them. So when we need to use it in the sauce, I just defrost some.
So it hasn't been dried in the dehydrator, it's just been put through a blender and minced and bagged and thrown in the freezer. It still works the same.
Yep.
If any of you are going to ask what habaneros they are, that's a little bit difficult because we grow all of them. So it's a mix of nearly every strain of habanero together. So going from the pure whites, the ghosts, right through to the bright orange ones. We also have a slight mix of Carolina Reaper in there. We don't go too heavy on that because it's a bit ridiculous in heat.
Yeah. And
nobody likes it, so try and keep it at a normal level for everyone to eat.
Hey, say hello to the vlog. I get too close to the mic though.
That's Phoenix, by the way.
Hello. They're both begging for some meat on the floor.
That they're not going to get.
I'm going to wash my hand again.
Just another hint for you two guys while we've got you on there. I know when you're doing this, if you've got a dog, it's really hard not to give them some fat. But we found out recently that high concentrates of fat will give dogs pancreatitis and it can kill them. So we don't give our dogs any of the offcuts. Just so you're aware. Don't do this at home. Cutting towards yourself.
Mr. Safety Officer.
Mr. Safety Officer.
Alright, the fresh chili has been defrosted. Now I'm going to put it in the sauce. Not sure if I should put everything in.
No.
We'll just
put part
put
thereof.
a little bit. Taste it.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's a little bit. The fume of this chili is just incredible. It makes you cough sometimes. You can taste the heat right away.
Well, that's enough then. If you can taste it straight away, yeah, that's enough.
Okay, I guess that's enough. I would have put the whole thing in, but we always have this argument. Okay, I'll just leave this until Todd's finished cutting the meat. Let's put this aside.
Okay, so about that thick. So it's still pretty flimsy, about as thick as a nice thin piece of stir fry. And that's about as thick as you want to go, and it'll dry nice and neat. And if you keep them all the same thickness, they'll all dry and finish the same time. So you're not pulling stuff out of drawers that are already done and stuff that's still wet inside there. So that's a big thing with keeping the thickness exactly the same. So you're not going to have some half done and some done.
Phoenix, what are you doing?
Begging.
You begging again? What you doing? Ah, you can't be bothered begging. That's a good quality meat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice. Just getting it off the sheath. So just cut down to the sheath and slide. It's a lot easier than cutting the sheath off. Oh, getting there, slowly.
Good for the lower back.
Yeah, great for the lower back. As you can see, we're not buying cheap and nasty meat. They're good cuts. They're a good cut of rump. So I think, personally, myself, the best full flavoured meat is rump. That's tender enough to eat properly, you know. Everybody always says it's tender, and it's not hard as a rock or chewy. That can be two things though. It's also how you cut your meat, but it's also how long you dry it as well. But having a good quality cut of meat does help a hell of a lot, and it helps with flavour as well. So you don't just want to taste sauce and chili. You want to actually taste the meat, and that's the whole idea.
Hey Todd,
Yo!
you're drinking on the job.
No way. Not me, I'm a safety advisor. I wouldn't be drinking while I'm working.
Can someone sponsor us? You're supposed to be begging over there. Rebella, she stole your spot. Oh, what's wrong? She stole your spot.
If I ever did become a millionaire.
Another quick hint that I thought of, guys, while you're cutting this up. I know it's easier to cut big pieces so you're not laying so much out through the dehydrator, but it's a lot easier cutting them small. You know, like this is probably a quarter of the rump, and the width of it just makes it that much easier. So you start getting much wider than that, and it starts to bend and twist all over the place while you're trying to cut it. and you get fat ends with skinny centres and all sorts of stuff. So try and keep them to a minimum. They're still a decent size, you know, there's nothing wrong with that size, putting it in there.
So it's you saying if you cut it big, it's actually harder to cut.
Yeah, like if you try and cut that length,
Yeah. Oh.
and try and keep it the same width for that whole length,
Oh.
it's not going to happen.
Yes. I got
You know,
it.
and like
Yeah.
I've been doing it now for 8 years, cutting it myself, and I still struggle with
Yeah.
pieces that size. So I try and
see.
keep them all about this size, and you just slice through. Like, don't go much more than two-thirds of your blade width or your blade length.
Yeah.
That way you can nearly get through it with one swipe.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, just makes it easier.
There you go. I learn something every day. I did not know that. Yeah, I normally cover the edges of the container with Glad wrap so that I don't have to wipe it at the end. Alright, just finished coating the meat with the marinade. So taking this off now. See? Clean. So now all I do is just making sure that every single meat is fully coated. So I just use my hand and stir them around. That's basically it. And then it just goes into the fridge overnight. Alright, so I'm gonna close this up and then just put it in the fridge.
In my summer place, got a smile on my face.
Tonight, I'm going to have pesto gnocchi with garlic bread to keep the carbs up. Hey, Nov, what are you having?
Tonight, I'm gonna have chicken snitty, chips, and chicken salt.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
No, Nov, I don't mean to be rude, but it's nice.
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 That's right, you know, like Royce, thrice, pine lime splice.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, God, it's Queen's English.
Just as I mentioned earlier too, guys, make sure, because you're dealing with raw meat, you need to keep yourself as clean as possible. Get a really high-end antibacterial soap if you can. Get rid of all that bacteria. Make sure you get it underneath your nails. The meat's been in the fridge now for 24 or 18 to 24 hours, probably more so 18 hours. We try not to leave it in much longer than that, otherwise it gets a bit strong. So we're just, we've taken it out of the fridge, so we've let it get down to room temperature. Just makes it a little bit easier to work with, otherwise the marinade's too thick. It's now down at room temperature. It's been out for about 2 hours, and we're going to start putting it on the racks and prepping it, putting it into the dehydrators, and we're good as gold. Okay, just grab your bits of meat out. Oh, hang on. Do you want to spray?
Spray. Yeah, that's important.
The rack. Nearly made a mistake, guys. A big hint for you if you're doing this at home. We found out the hard way. Spray your racks. Okay, if you don't spray your racks, you're going to have a nightmare getting the meat off the rack after it's been dehydrated. Otherwise, you're not going to get it out of the dehydrator at all. Okay, so that's nearly a major, that one. Cleaning them is a nightmare. So, doesn't matter how you place it on the racks. The closer you place it all together, no doubt, is going to be, you're going to fit more into your dehydrator, obviously. So, just take your time, place it out there. Okay, so what Navita's going to do now, she's going to start scooping up the chili out of the marinade and put it into a little sieve. And then what she's going to do is get the marinade off the chili, and then just the chili that's left over, It's going to tip it onto the meat itself, and we'll spread it across the top of the meat just for the look, better than just a plain meat looking thing. You keep all the seeds in the chilli, gives it that little bit of colour and maybe a little bit more heat. Okay, let's have some chilli. Okay, so as you can see, now we've got that chilli spread across the top of them. It just gives it that better look. So when that's dry, people can tell it's actually a chilli jerky. You know, then they're not biting into something unknown. So next process is a bit obvious. Get your trays into your dehydrator, as Nob's doing there. That's our first tray. And hopefully this will only be a single dehydrator job, and we'll see how we go. Then we'll throw it on for about 8 hours and we're done.
Halloween's coming up. We should really be doing our Halloween edition like you have been doing.
Yeah, well that's true. Yeah, forgot about that. We do a Halloween version each year. We make these little vacuum sealed packets with a label.
Oh, I think I got a.
Oh yeah, get one out. So what we were doing was, the kids get something every year, okay, but what about the parents that walk around with them all the time? So these are the packets we make up. We make up these little packets of jerky, so when we hand out stuff to the kids, the parents get a packet of jerky as well while they're walking around. It's just something different, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody ever thinks of the parent, but the parents are out there running around all night. So.
And the neighbours, actually, the one that we've given it before, they actually remembered, and the following year they'll say,
do you have any jerky?
Do you have any jerky? Yeah, that's one year where we decided we're not going to bother, and they actually remembered.
Yeah, they were disappointed that we didn't make any. So
that was fun. Okay, you're talking to your neighbour, you know.
Well, since I ain't no millionaire, it's back to that job I've been working for years, punching my card and counting down the days till I'm surrounded by friends, got my feet in the sand, cranking some tunes with a beer in my hand. Sure can't beat what I got going here in my summer.
yeah, give me cancer. Just another quick tip for you guys as well. When your meat sits in the marinade, that will get folded, so just make sure you get those little folds undone and check your meat each time, because those bits won't dry in the time that you want them to. Just something for you to remember.
I'm just trying to show you how shiny it looks now, and that's what you want, because that shininess will turn into tackiness.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's tacky, and it gives it a nice glaze.
Yeah,
And that's what people ask for.
Yeah, and if you use the sauce, like see this sauce here, they're quite thick. We've made one before where the sauce is quite thin, runny, and the final product is not the same. It's just not tacky and sticky, full of yummy goodness. Yeah.
Okay, so this is our last tray, guys. As you can see, Navita's loading up this last tray with the habaneros. So this is going to be a very, very hot tray. So what we do for Navita's own and mine, we stick the last tray in the bottom, so we know we don't mix it up for everybody else and blow everybody's head off with chili. Obviously there's people out there that like it super, super hot. Well, with this amount of habanero on each piece, trust me, you get a decent kick out of it. You know, it's good with a beer, but there are people out there that don't like it that hot, so.
Rich man, but I'm making enough, living my life just the way I wanted to.
Turning it on.
That's
Ta-da! That's it, guys. So you have it on your highest setting, which is meats. Okay.
And for people that have been asking me what temperature we cook our jerky, well, I just read it there for the first time. It's actually saying 63 to 68 degrees Celsius. So how long are we going to cook this for?
Yeah, so we'll put it on for 8 hours. We'll probably check after 6, see how close it is. If it's good after 6, well, we might take it out. If not, we'll just leave it in for a bit more. Usually it's 8 hours. It's usually right. After 6 hours, sometimes there's a little bit dampness in it. It's a bit too moist. We still like to take it out while it's moist and chewy and not dry and hard, which is how I like it. But everybody else likes it just so it's a little bit soft and you get that nice texture about it. So, just back on the cleaning side of things again. I know it's like bashing your head against a wall. You've been dealing with raw meats, so you really need to make sure everything's spotless, guys. Don't just use cold water. Use it as hot as you can stand your hand under it. And also some Ajax or something like that, just to make sure you get all those germs and shit off your sink.
Friends got my feet in the sand, crackers and juice with a beer in my hand. Sure can't beat what I got going here. In my summer place, got a smile on my face, surrounded by friends, ain't no better place. I can't think of anywhere I'd rather be than right here. In my summer place, got a smile on my face. Me and the crew are taking over this place. Dirt piles carving out tracks in the sand. All the girls they around us baking a tan, make a whole lot of...
Navita's just pulling the drawer out there, and we're just going to test it. So what we usually do, grab a piece of the meat. So as I bend it, you see that white inside where it's bent. That's just the meat fibers there. Once you start getting that white when you bend it, it's pretty well ready to go. Like, I know, as you can see, the meat looks pretty flexible, pretty bendy. It's soft now because the meat's still hot. Once that cools down, it will dry out and it will get harder. It won't get solid like leather, but it will get firmer. Now, see how easy this is coming off this rack? You would definitely not be doing it like this if you didn't spray oil on the rack. You'd be scratching and grinding and trying as hard as you can. You'd have spoons on it to lever it off. Trust me, I tried everything, but oil is fantastic. It just lifts off. Like, look at this big piece here. It just lifts straight off. No problem at all. So that's that oil.
Dirt piles carving out tracks in the sand. All the girls they around us baking a tan, make a whole lot of noise, having beers with the boys. Bands on the pontoon, banging out a fine tune. Rather be in no other place.
Tonight, I'm having pesto gnocchi.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh God, it's Queen's English.
Throwing around, I got a truck that loves playing in the muddy old ground. Big boys' toys make a whole lot of noise, but nobody cares out here. In my summer place, got a smile on my face. Me and the crew are taking over this place. Dirt piles carving out tracks in the sand.